I'm Dale Carden, the Senior Advisor at the U.S. U.A.E. Business Council. I'm pleased to introduce a new episode of our latest digital series, the Council Talks COP28. In this monthly series, we speak to representatives of American companies who are championing sustainability and playing a vital role in supporting COP28 in the UAE. In this new episode, we interview Joe Speicher, Autodesk's Vice President for ESG and Impact. Joe will speak to us not just about the adoption of ESG at Autodesk, but also about how his company's technology is helping its customers in the construction and manufacturing industries meet their sustainability and efficiency goals. Joe, welcome to Council Talks. Autodesk believes technology is crucial in combating climate change. How does Autodesk's technology help its customers in the construction and manufacturing industries meet their sustainability goals? For instance, enabling them to reimagine how the built environment is retrofitted and how new projects are designed and built.
I think it's interesting to consider that the industries that Autodesk serve, specifically the built environment and the design and manufacturing industries, are associated with about 56 to 58% of total global CO2 emissions every year. And the only way to track the carbon footprint associated with any project, whether it's in the built environment or whether it's in the manufacturing space, is by using data. And we increasingly are deploying digital tools to enable our customers to track the carbon emissions associated with their projects such that they can manage and reduce them. Now, one thing that's necessary for this is a digital thread that goes through every stage of project delivery, whether that's in the built environment or in the manufacturing space. And increasingly, we are connecting all of those tools. So as we move to a platform-based model that enables end-to-end data flows, the ability for our customers to deliver more sustainable outcomes becomes much easier.
Well, that brings me the question about what Autodesk is doing internally on the adoption of ESG. How is Autodesk leading by example within your own operations?
So very quickly, we have committed to reductions in our carbon emissions, decarbonizing our business. That's been validated by the science-based target initiatives. We've also committed to powering our business with 100% renewable energy. And increasingly, we are investing in the expansion of the renewable grid. And then lastly, we're committed to dealing with the residual emissions associated with our business. Many folks do that with carbon offsets. Those are a somewhat flawed tool for doing so. So we are moving from carbon avoidance to carbon removal and investing in the technologies that allow us to actually engineer carbon removal from the atmosphere.
One of the new exciting programs that you guys have announced is Sustainable Minds, an end-to-end product transparency solutions provider for building product manufacturers, announced its integration with Autodesk Construction Cloud. Tell us more about this.
Sustainable Minds is a great example of how we are opening up our platform and allowing third parties to associate with a specific project, right? And so, as I mentioned at the outset, the only way that we are able to appropriately measure, manage, and subsequently reduce carbon emissions associated with a building, for instance, is to be able to bring in the appropriate data at the appropriate time. And so what Sustainable Minds does, and we have many other partners that do this as well, is our partnership allows us to bring their data into an Autodesk environment and therefore inform the decisions that a designer or a construction professional is making as it relates to a specific project. And only through bringing in this data, because sustainability data is incredibly localized. The carbon coefficient associated with a specific SKU of concrete in, let's say, Dubai is quite different than one in San Francisco, California. And so only by aggregating that data, bringing it into an Autodesk environment and enabling a designer, an engineer, a construction professional, or an asset owner to make a decision based on which material to use, is that's going to help us achieve our sustainable outcomes that the industry needs to work towards.
Noting the importance of a global effort in this, what do you think governments can do? And how can governments align their policies to incentivize companies like yours and construction firms and manufacturers to help you achieve some incredible aggressive goals that you have set for yourselves and for the industry?
Governments have a role to play in two ways, and then I'll add a third element. And so in two ways. One is the regulatory frameworks, right? And so what is the compliance requirements that companies are required to ensure they are following to deliver on certain government regulatory regimes, right? And then on the other side is the public sector incentive programs, which are to say that, whether they're subsidies, tax credits, et cetera, to incentivize specific areas of business, right? We're seeing really interesting work today happening in both of those areas. What I would ask global governments to do, and this is personally, and I'm sure many other business leaders feel this way, is the need to coordinate such that there is not different requirements in different regions across the globe. What businesses need is one regulatory requirement, a focus on specific incentive programs for us to move in certain directions. What I would encourage governments to do is coordinate, collaborate, and consolidate some of these such that businesses can have clear direction in which way to move.
Speaking of coordination, COP28 is coming up at the end of November. It's a great time for governments to get together and coordinate on incentives and regulations. Tell us about what Autodesk hopes to see come out of COP28 and how do you plan to be involved?
The COP28 event is a public sector gathering, and we are there to show our support for public sector leadership in this area. Additionally, there are so many businesses that are involved in COP and that public sector support that we are excited to engage the community that will be there this year and talk about cross industry, cross sector solutions that we all should be working towards. And so it's a great moment in time. We're very excited about our participation and looking forward to getting into some great discussions when we're there.
Thanks, Joe.